It all begins on a dark and silent night when something strange falls from the sky. These are not ordinary creatures. They are dangerous parasites whose only purpose is to survive by taking over human bodies and feeding on other humans. As they land on Earth, they immediately start searching for hosts. One of these parasites enters a house where a man is sleeping peacefully. It crawls into his body through his ear. The man struggles for a few moments, then suddenly becomes calm and goes back to sleep as if nothing happened. But something is clearly wrong. Soon after, we meet a high school boy named Shinichi. At that very moment, another parasite lands near him and tries to enter his body through his ear. However, Shinichi is wearing headphones, so the parasite fails. It then attempts to enter through his nose, but Shinichi wakes up just in time and grabs it. As he tries to crush it, the parasite quickly slips into his hand. Panicked, Shinichi ties his arm tightly with a cable to stop it from spreading further. When his mother comes in, he tries to explain what happened, but she sees nothing unusual and assumes it was just a bad dream. The next morning, things get even stranger. His fingers start moving on their own at the dining table. No matter how much he tries to explain, no one believes him. Meanwhile, the man who was infected earlier is no longer normal. He behaves oddly and suddenly attacks his wife, killing her in a horrifying way. It becomes clear that these parasites are extremely dangerous and completely emotionless. Back to Shinichi, he starts noticing more strange changes. At school, his hand suddenly moves on its own and causes an awkward situation with his friend Satomi, making her angry. Confused and scared, Shinichi begins researching what might be happening to him. Then something shocking happens. An eye appears on his right hand, the same hand where the parasite entered. Terrified, he tries to cut his hand off, but it transforms into a monstrous shape and stops him. Suddenly, it returns to normal and speaks. The parasite tells Shinichi that it cannot eat him because it failed to reach his brain. Instead, it has taken over his hand. The parasite introduces itself as Migi. Unlike the others, Migi is intelligent and curious. It wants to learn how to communicate and understand humans. Shinichi, having no other choice, agrees to cooperate. They make a deal. If one dies, both die. Elsewhere, other parasites are also adapting. One is learning human language by watching television. These creatures are quickly evolving and blending into human society. Migi spends time reading books and learning rapidly. Soon, it becomes highly intelligent. It even accompanies Shinichi to the school library, secretly absorbing knowledge. However, outside, the situation is getting worse. Reports of mysterious deaths are spreading, and no one knows the cause. One day, Migi senses another parasite nearby and forces Shinichi to go to a restaurant. Inside, they find a parasite feeding on a human. It offers Shinichi food, but quickly realizes he is not fully infected. A fight breaks out. Migi uses its abilities to defeat the enemy parasite in a brutal battle. Afterward, Migi makes it clear it didn't save Shinichi out of kindness, but for survival. Soon, Shinichi learns a terrifying truth. Parasites feed only on humans. When he calls Migi a monster, Migi responds by pointing out that humans also kill other animals for food. This creates a moral conflict within Shinichi. At school, a new teacher named Tamura appears. Migi immediately senses that she is also a parasite. She confirms it and reveals that some parasites are trying to live peacefully among humans. She even mentions something shocking. She is carrying a child and wants to understand what it will become. However, not all parasites are peaceful. One of them, disguised as a police officer, attacks Shinichi. With Migi's help, Shinichi manages to defeat him in a dangerous fight. But things take a tragic turn. As the dying parasite searches for a new body, it encounters Shinichi's mother and takes over her. When she returns home, Shinichi refuses to believe she is no longer human. But suddenly she attacks Shinichi. Shinichi is fatally wounded. In a desperate move, Migi uses its own cells to repair Shinichi's heart, saving his life. But this changes Shinichi. He becomes stronger, faster, and more emotionless, almost like the parasites themselves. Now, Shinichi is different. He struggles with his humanity while gaining new abilities. His relationship with Satomi becomes strained as she notices the change in him. Meanwhile, the parasites continue spreading and even begin entering positions of power, including politics. A new parasite infiltrates Shinichi's school and starts attacking students when its identity is exposed. A massive fight breaks out, putting everyone in danger. Shinichi steps in and risks his life to protect others. Eventually, Shinichi tracks down the parasite that took over his mother. In an intense final confrontation, he faces it alone while Migi is temporarily inactive. Just when he is about to be defeated, a small part of his mother's remaining humanity stops the attack for a moment. Taking that chance, Shinichi ends the fight. After everything, Shinichi makes a decision. He will hunt down parasites and stop them, one by one. But as he walks away, someone mysterious is watching him from a distance. And that's where this part of the story ends.